Okay, so you can kind of go for it a few different ways. One, I like to use channel strips that have multiple, what's the word for it? Multiple channels kind of sampled. So like,
Right, like the new Waves one.
Like the new Waves one, or if you're the ones that I use a little bit more, I use the Waves ones a lot. I'm a Wavesaholic, but like the plugin alliance, like the SSL ones or the Focusrite ones, where they modeled like 80 channels. Like for me, or for most people, that's a really great thing because they're modeling all of the gear. So even if you just put it in line as your first insert and don't even use it,
you're already basically adding that.
You're getting everything that you would have. Well, not everything, but you're getting most of the stuff that you would have gotten. The things that you're missing are things like pan irregularities and other little things. But again, it's not hard to do that in the box. It means like instead of going 100 and 100 left and right, you go 99 and 97. And it's just those little differences that because at the end of the day, analog, it's not making anything wider. It's not. It can't. It's doing exactly the same thing that's being done in the box, but just less reliable and less recallable. So you're basically just getting all of that randomness inside the analog world. And a lot of plugins that I love doing that with are, saturation plugins, tape emulation, understanding how you can push saturation and harmonics and then rein it in with plugins after it so that you can go more extreme than you thought you could. That's a big thing.
What do you mean exactly? So you're going hard on like a preamp, and then afterwards you're able to kind of like soothe it out or something like that?
Yeah, so exactly. So a really cool tip that I learned when I was trying to get better at it was, let's say you put a decapitator on a track and you crank it up and you can get it up to, let's say, 2 or 3 before you start really hearing the artifacts and it's not pleasant. And, you start getting frequencies that ring and stuff like that. And, for me, I almost never use the wet and dry blend on plugins like that. I normally go, and get the character and stop where I need to. Unless it's for like an effect and I'm like want it super distorted and then blend it in. But usually again, I do that on a separate channel and blend it more traditionally. But what you can do is if you put a soothe plugin after it and you set the soothe plugin to be very sharp and very selective in how it picks its frequencies. So it's not doing like wide curves. It's doing very narrow notching.
Yeah.
You can push your distortion because it's taking everything that's harsh and reining it back, but you're getting everything from the distortion that you want. So, and you can rinse and repeat. Like you can go decapitator, soothe. You can just keep doing it and changing the emulations and changing how you're hitting it. A similar way to do it would be, there's a trick I learned from Tim O'Sullivan was throwing a flanger or a modulation after distortion. And it was a trick he told me that he started using on keyboards way back when, I think. And if I messed that up, Tim, I'm sorry. But,
we'll have to have Tim back on to verify.
Yeah. He'll need to be the secondary source, the primary source.
Totally.
So, it was like being able, like, how can you get your keyboard to sound more aggressive? And it's like drive the distortion, but then just put a little bit of chorusing on to smooth out the distortion. So you can hit it harder and it's still intelligible, but you're getting rid of those things that like for us as humans can, be very unpleasant
annoying
to hear. Exactly.
Yeah.
So I found that I've been, I'm still trying to really walk the line of saturation. I do feel like lately things have been too saturated that I've been doing.
But people love it though. That's what people love. They love the saturation.
Exactly. So I think for me, it's more of like I really push it as far as I can, and I'm hoping that like in a year or so I'll have it really dialed in and comfortable where I feel comfortable. It's not that I don't feel comfortable now, but there's times that we all listen back to music that we've done and be like, oh man, did I really push it that hard? And I'm like, but we all love it and it sounds good. So like, it's just good. Like, and I don't think about it that way, but it's more of like, you know, is there a better way? I think that's the more of the approach is always trying to just see if there's a more effective way to do the same principle.
Yeah.
So
totally. I just on that pushing in and taking back thing, I thought about, I heard that Jack Stratton from Wolfpack does this when he's mixing. He'll just crank the treble and then slam it into a tape emulator, and then crank the treble again and then slam it into a tape emulator. Yeah. So he's like pushing up the treble, slamming it down with the tape, pushing it, you know what I mean? So it's like, and that's how he gets his like really crazy vintagey saturated, you know, Wolfpack sound, you know?
Right. I mean, all of those tricks that that's the thing is like, if you're going to be in the box, like, and there's nothing wrong with it. I'm in the box, and you just have to know, like, you just have to take those risks and do things that are just stupid to get the results that might, you know, take 2 seconds on an outboard piece of gear. But, you know, most people don't have the luxury of having that outboard piece of gear.
Totally.
And then having to deal with it for recalls and stuff like that. And it's kind of just like, no, man, like, yeah, exactly. If I can just throw 3 tape emulation plugins with some, you know, plugins after it that calm it down and I get to the place that I want to be, then that's what I want to be.